Welcome to the Whispers from the Shadow podcast. I'm Super Jimmy.
Is
And today we are actually answering a question from our friend Arustuk Grizz over on Twitter, who asked what our take was on the Bell Witch of the Appalachians. And we're going to get into some supernatural entities also. So if you guys have any topics you want us to cover, suggest them through Twitter, YouTube, anything. DM us, however you guys want to go about it, and we'll see what we can fit in. But I will let Miz start this one off and give us his take.
Yeah, so I had not really heard about this until Grace actually brought the question, and then so I was like, okay, let me do some research. And then literally right before we started shooting this, I was doing some research beforehand. I didn't realize that this is what inspired Blair Witch. Mm-hmm. So reading into this, I was like, okay, this seems like a very Tennessee thing. Okay, got down to like North Carolina, Mississippi, and so on and so forth. But like more I was reading into, I didn't realize like how tied this is into like now like some of my favorite stuff. So like,
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Very interesting. So Grizz, before I would have been like, I don't know what that is. I have no comment on it. But like after reading on it, like just even like touching the barely basis I have in like what 2 hours.
Yeah.
Of like total research and whatnot, but is like hearing that it's an inspiration for like one of my favorite things ever was like really gonna hook me now. So now I'm like, because there's been like conflicting stories in this, and the thing that I've been like, I was talking to Jimmy before we shot this was a lot of these older folklores always start or are part of the whole oral history that we get. Unfortunately, we'll never know fully everything, but shows the power of how like word can last for eons and times. I mean, we still hear about some of the folklores from tribes and other parts of the world.
Because like this is one of those ones that's like a lot of it's oral history, but there's like famous encounters with friggin' with which one was it? Which president? Andrew Jackson. Like apparently this she's had a run in with Andrew
down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, so weird because like reading this is just very, very interesting because like the way they say how some of this is, and it's only like I was telling Jimmy how I was like, you know, it's kind of funny how this is just like centered here, like it is the Jersey Devil, and I was like, I know more about the Jersey Devil than I do about this, which is very, very shocking because this seems like it would have been a lot bigger than that one.
Honestly, I have to agree because there's a lot to this story. Like the Jersey, like everything I've read on the Jersey Devil is maybe like a page and a half. This is like 5 pages of different accounts
too, but it's like it spans from like 1812 to like fucking 1890 at parts, and then 1910.
Like there's actually like firsthand accounts leading up to like 2009, 2006 from like like what the hell.
So guys, you have sunk me in a hole for a bit now.
Yeah,
which I appreciate. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate, but oh my god.
So like the gist of the story is that the Bell family of Tennessee was haunted by some kind of spirit or witch, as they would
later call it, because it's giving like some of the stuff I've read on it, and a lot of people are comparing it to like a djinn or a apparition of something like a skinwalker almost, because it morphs and changes.
Yeah, and like apparently everyone's like the I guess you could say the main suspect of being of where the Bell Witch originated from was, I think it was what's his name, John Bell's daughter. I just seen it, Elizabeth Betsy, quote unquote, Bell. They're thinking it might have been her, but there's no like confirmed account of where it started. But she is known to turn people into animals and her minions and stuff like that. And like I can see where a lot of the lore ties into the Blair Witch, because when I was a kid, that was terrifying. That found footage film, quote unquote. That was.
So it wasn't appreciated at its time. It really wasn't. A lot of people hated the ending and so on and so forth, which again, I know for 98, 99, I can fully understand. But what I loved is, again, that promotion for it is like, threw me back to like what happened with Cannibal Holocaust, like we were talking about, how it's like, they made it seem that this was so like legit, hey, these kids died over here. This is what the footage we grabbed from it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was done so well, and for a lot of people, that was what was like. Hey, I ain't going camping for a while.
Yeah, because I remember my mom rented it from Blockbuster back when that was a thing, and
Mhm.
my aunt and my granddad all watched it together, and for like 6 7 years after that, like we didn't go camping, we didn't go fishing, we didn't really go out in the woods.
Yeah, it was like again the Jaws effect, where it's like, hey, we just watched this really scary movie about something that could actually happen. That activity we like to do, that was in the movie. Yeah, we're not doing that for a while, okay?
Yeah, um it was like ooh, like I was freaked out by it because I only caught a glimpse of it. It was like the part where it was talking about the witch making kids stand in the corner, like face the wall and stand in the
Face
corner
the
and
wall
stuff.
while it kills another one. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's stuff like that where it's just like, oh my god.
it's like wow, that's demented. And let me see. Then they had like accounts of like members of the Bell family like losing wealth, dying. They had a 1,000 acre farm where crops started dying off. A whole bunch of like the beginnings of the disturbances and stuff like that. But there's like no real, from what I saw. I could be wrong, and if I am, correct me, please, anybody. I didn't see a real like description of it aside that of what was matching Betsy Bell, the daughter. Um, because she was, I guess, the last one left alive, which kind of makes me think of that movie, The Witch, that came out
I still
a
have yet
couple
to see
years
that.
ago.
I've heard mixed things about it.
Yeah, same. So like I wonder if The Witch was also inspired by this because this sounds very similar to the plot because they had like their youngest child come up missing, family members dying, crops dying off, animals dying off, a bunch of misfortune.
Mhm.
Andrew Jackson.
Like a curse kind of thing. Yeah.
Like I'm kind of wondering if that's kind of the same thing, but apparently this is something that I just saw. There it is. There's an actual uh, landmark called the Bell Witch Cave. It says that it played originally relatively played a minor role in the original Bell. I almost said Blair Witch. Original Bell Witch legend of the early 19th century. The cave on John Bell's property has since become a focal point for visitors hoping to experience a bit of the haunting themselves. So, like, I don't know if I like from what I'm gathering, this sounds kind of like a combination of um, I guess you could say folklore and supernatural.
Yeah. Or like
So,
stories that you've heard from like the past, the monsters of
Mhm.
our history in a sense. No matter
'Cause
what it
like
be, it's spiritual, paranormal, blah blah blah. It kind of covers that entirety of it.
because this story has ties from what I understand. It's not like actual ties, but it has very similar aspects of a monster that I heard of called Black Annis. And this isn't one of the creatures that I picked out, but I have read up on Black Annis, and basically what she does is she roams the countryside of one specific area in England. It's a very small town called Leicestershire, and she rolls the hills in that area and all of like the sub towns and everything like that, and she steals children away to eat them and turn their skins into clothes and stuff like that, and um like brings misfortunes and all that fun stuff. But from what I'm seeing for the Bell Witch, though, the main difference I'm seeing is there's not really a way to ward her off,
Hmm.
where there was with like the Black Annis. Like with Black Annis, glass windows were like the thing that was just like, oh no, an invisible barrier, thunk for her. And then when
Almost like your trick homes, almost, or your trick houses at like carnivals.
yeah, so like that, with that being said, like I see a lot of similarities between these two, but I'm kind of glad Grizz brought this up to us because
Yeah, for real. I'm really gonna be sinking in here. I've already seen like several books that I'm probably gonna pick up.
yeah, there's so much to it. There's different families involved. There's priests. There's sermons. There's like a whole bunch of stuff. Like they're like they cover the beginning of like the family, the Bell house, which I'm actually gonna Google that and see if the Bell house is still standing. The Bell
The
house.
cave is still standing, and they usually
Yeah.
give trips out during summer or to October.
Oh, they still got the cave. Cave is still open for that. And apparently there's a tour located deep in Tennessee country and explores the legend of the Bell Witch and what it's like visiting. So it looks like it's around Adams, Tennessee. So if you're in Tennessee and you know about this, please let us know like some of the stuff you've heard surrounding this, because there's a lot to this legend.
Yeah, there is so much.
And let's see. And like Ms. said, there's a lot of like word of mouth and stuff like that. And because like right here it says John Bell Sr. This is talking about Betsy Bell. John Bell Sr. and Betsy Bell seem to be the two most frequently abused by the witch. For reasons still unclear, the witch adamantly, I had to read that freaking like twice, opposed the union of childhood sweethearts. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So Betsy Bell wasn't the daughter, it was the wife. Oh, wait, no. Betsy Bell was the daughter. Okay. Betsy Bell and Joshua Gardner. That's where Joshua Gardner came in when I like saw his name. Frequently resorting to ruthless taunts and physical abuse, Joshua and Betsy remained attached, but she put off the marriage in fear of the spirit's reprisal. So, dang. So this is kind of like some Conjuring level, get the Warrens involved type stuff.
Well, I mean, this is way before their time because the first known thing is in like 1984 or 1894 or something like that.
Yeah. So like,
because this dates back to 18.
Yeah.
1812 or some shit like
yeah,
that.
Like 1812. And like they like there's a lot to the story. There's like I'm sorry. That's like one of the scariest things is actually having an apparition like that actually haunts the family and is abusive towards the family. Like that's one of the worst things because you can't really fight back. Like if it's something physical, I'll mess with it. I'll fight back against it. I don't care if it's a bear or a shark, whatever. If I'm not physically scared of it. The fear of it eating me is still there. So I'm not going to mess with it intentionally. But if I need to, I will try to defend myself. With ghosts and apparitions and stuff like that, nope.
Nothing you can do. You're just done.
Nope.
I was gonna say because it's like the whole story that like my end. So we were doing just a couple of our favorite folklores that we could remember and some that we wanted to learn. One of mine was going to be skinwalkers. And it's like the same concept of like you hear it's like goes back to like the Wendigo and how we can tie in multiple different folklores together. Like with skinwalkers, it's always interesting because like they disguise themselves as anything. They could be that bird, they can be that little gopher, they could be that person screaming out in the distance that you don't know if it's an actual person.
Help me! No, show yourself.
Yeah, and, exactly.
And because originally I'm from Denver, Colorado, so being a kid of the Midwest and stuff like that, especially out in that area, there's a lot of like Native American land and reservations and stuff like that you can go visit that have a lot of tourism in that area. And one of the legends that I heard was, one of the warnings I heard was, don't whistle at night. If it sounds far off, it's close. If it sounds close, it's far off, and all that stuff with like Wendigos, skinwalkers, stuff like that. And what really creeped me out about that story was oh, that's just like an urban legend or whatever. But then I go on TikTok and there's this one funny he's half native, half Hispanic creator that I follow. I can't remember his name. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah, he's great.
And he was like, when you invite your friend onto the reservation, and then like the caption was, hey, that deer's standing up on its hind legs, and he's like, get away from the window. and then the window's open and the friend is gone. It was him playing both characters, and he just like, and I'm like, oh, that's not okay. Okay, that's a little scary.
Yeah, no, it's been around for years. I mean, this goes back to like old tribes, like even before like the past 300, 400 years. There's always been that superstition of that, and it's usually like a wolf. Sometimes is what a lot of them are too.
Yeah.
and native lore at times is that
Or a deer or a bear. Yeah.
yeah, that's how you had your ancestors and what house and family and so on and so forth, because always pray to the bear or whatever it is, whatever your tribe is, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Like that. Like just
It's a
hearing that as a
terrifying thought, though.
yeah. Like I still to this day refuse to whistle at night because I may live in the like I what is it? I have a friend. He's more than half Lumbee, and it's funny. I make fun of him because he can't whistle, but he's like, "Hey, at least I'll never get got by a skinwalker because I can't whistle." I'm like, "Don't make me whistle at night and run away." He's like, he looked at me dead square in my eyes and goes, "I'm faster than you are." I was like, "That's fair. I'm not whistling at night." But yeah, like I like to this day, like out of like pure unadulterated fear, I will not whistle at night because of that, because I fear like the worst thing for me honestly is mental fear, the fear of the unknown.
Your mind will always make it worse than what's actually behind you at times. I mean, like it's like you play a horror game and like there's something really nice behind you that sounds like a cat, and it's like, oh, that sounds so innocent, I should turn around. But if I do, I'm probably dead.
Yeah.
What could kill me right now if I turn around? What could be so bad? And your mind starts making up all these different monsters, scenarios, whatever, to make you be like, don't turn around.
And something that messed me up even to this day is that no matter if it's myth, legend, any of that stuff, it has a basis in the real world. Something somewhere made it to where that happened. So what gave Native Americans the idea for skinwalkers is my question. Like I would like to
How did it start?
yeah, like go like just time travel back to when they were taught when like the legends first sprung up and stuff like that, and be like, where did this come from?
I mean, because again, it depends on where you're at in the world. Because a lot of the folklores have some similarities in some senses, depending on where you are.
Except the Japanese.
Yeah, Asian horror and Asian folklore and tales are definitely different. We were talking about that before this too.
They're a different breed. They are a different breed. Because there's one, I don't know the specifics, and I don't know how to say the name, but it's like the Manigal, I think is how you say it. But basically it's a normal person, and when it like goes to attack, the top half of it rips off of the bottom half, so it's just a flying torso, and it like chases its prey down and stuff. It's really weird. I don't think of anything here in Western culture that's like that, except maybe no, nothing. I got nothing.
I can't think of anything personally. I personally can't.
But yeah, like Asian horror, Asian folklore is a breed all its own. But I'm sure they think the same thing about us. They're like, hey, do you hear about the guy that can turn into a deer that eats people? Like, the what?
I know when you look at it and see certain folklore, it's like, I understand this, but on our end, this is how this is terrifying. Oh, well, yeah, I don't like how that is on our end. It's this way.
Yeah.
It just sounds so.
It's like, wait a minute.
They're weird over there, but your shit's also weird. I don't like it. Our stuff is normal weird.
Ours is normal weird. Yours is a toilet ghost. like I'm sorry. The Japanese folklore it's either like super creepy, weird and creepy, scary, weird and creepy. There's like no in between or transition between all of them, because like the toilet ghost, I've heard about it. They're like, if you hear crying in a bathroom and it asks you something or something similar to that, don't respond. And then there's like the slit mouth woman, where she'll ask you if she's pretty, and if you answer yes, she'll take her mask off and ask you again, and she's got like horrible scars, which are known as a Glasgow smile on the western side of the world, and over I don't know what it's called over in Japan. but she'll have scars that lead up in like a big hideous like smile, like sinister smile type deal. And then she'll ask you again, am I still pretty? And if you answer yes, she makes you look like her. If you answer no, she kills you on the spot. So there's no like positive way to answer her question. So like she wears like a mask, which was kind of a fashion statement in Japan for a long time. I don't know if it still is or not, but people would wear like beaded masks or like the COVID style N95 face respirator mask and stuff like that. She just walk around with that over her face, and then she, just looked like a regular person until she cut your mouth open. Like, why? And you're just sitting there and you're like, interesting. Very interesting.
This is a story. That's the situation I would want to be in for sure.
Yeah. It's like, am I pretty? It's like, are you, am I pretty? Keep walking.
If I lie, what's that do?
Supposedly, if you lie, she still kills you on the spot. And it's just like, well, there's no winning in this situation if I answer. So I'm just going to keep quiet and keep on walking.
I mean, whenever you're in a situation that may have to deal with like folklore or anything like that, would you really want there to be a happy situation? Because there's usually some type of like really bad consequence.
Yeah. And there's always like some kind of like reverberation of like the aftershock of the initial interaction. And you're just like,
I would say that's like with jinns. It's like they have no power until you actually make your wish.
Yeah, like jinns are like, as much as it's like, hey, you know what? I think it'd be cool to find. I'm gonna use a Western version of it, the more Western version of it. The really cool to find a wish granting genie. But like, if you look at the stories about jinns, it's like, how many of them go the way that the wisher initially wanted? Because you have the ones that are like, oh, I wish to be the richest man in the world, so they make you the richest man in the world, but they make it to where you're wheelchair bound
in 12 minutes, or you can't use your wealth, or it's just like such fucked up situations. There's that like gray area that it's like, you gotta be so detailed with your wish to the point where you don't have to worry about a consequence or a potential consequence.
Yeah. And then like, I think they're more stories of caution about greed than anything, but at the same time, like, if you could have one wish, what would it be? And you're like, do I take this or do I not?
And it's usually like, again, what does your heart wish personally? And that's where like a lot of people are like, what does my heart truly want? And it's like that the wish has already been made without you thinking about it, because it's a subconscious thing. What makes you happy?
Yeah. You're like, a new car wouldn't be bad. And then it's like, here's a new Ford F-150. It's like, when did
shit?
It's like, fuck. Couldn't we at least go Chevy? Nope. Oh, by the way, you got the Ford F-150 and it's diesel. Damn it!
Oh, my pockets.
How did you find a diesel one? I made it. You are the worst genie ever. Fucking jinns.
But there's a lot of ups and downs with those, though.
Oh, big time. Like I think the downs outweigh the ups more than anything.
Oh yeah, but I mean, dude, I could have like $10 bajillion. That's like the end goal, right?
Yeah, but you can't spend it. You can't spend it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or any of the weekends. So you've got like 2 days out of the week where you can spend $1 million, and you're like, how do I spend $1 million today?
Could you imagine? That'd be fucking ridiculous. Holy shit. I don't even want to have that thought.
it'd be like that whole snail scenario that everyone was like, oh, I'll just trap the snail, do this or that, but it always finds a way, but you always have money.
Has a way to get to you, yeah.
It's with the jinn, it'd be like, hey, by the way, you're the richest man on the planet, but
you have to spend your fortune before you die.
When do I die? Tomorrow. What?
I honestly, even with like, even with $1 billion, dude, that is a ridiculous amount. I know you could spend it all, but like, even if you had to try and spend that in a day,
there's no way. There's
no fucking way.
Like what people don't understand is that $1 million is $100,000. Or 100 times 1,000, essentially. And what people don't understand is that $1 billion, if you or I had $1 billion, being in our 30s, we could spend $1 million a day for the rest of our life and
not
never
even
go
touch
broke.
it.
Yeah.
And not even touch that, a dent in that. That is insane.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, I would just wish for $10 billion. It's like, dude, what are you going to do with the other 999,999,099,000,099
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Because like it's a stupid number, but everybody like,
my number's bigger than your number. That's all it is, really.
ha, you're only in the single digits of the billions, you peasant.
Yeah, for real.
But like that's just a ridiculous number.
Wild.
Like, do you remember a couple years ago when they had like close to like $900 million for the lottery, and like everybody was losing their minds. Someone got shot at a gas station for that money. That's so stupid.
For a ticket that could be or could not have been the winner at that time. It's so fucking ridiculous.
And it was
fucking people, man.
Yeah, can't have a planet without them, sadly.
Maybe that's a good thing.
You know what? I know what the problem is. It's this.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You circled yourself. Exactly.
You didn't see that, did you?
Plot twist. Take that, M. Night Shyamalan.
It's all or nothing, baby. All or nothing.
But
I mean, there's a lot of folklore in those stories, though, that just put you in that mindset because of just how far would you go to either A, kill this thing, and or fucking B, make a wish with like the djinn, or another one like for me, like I said, I kind of have like a spot for is like the mermaids or sirens.
Yeah,
like
they're
beautiful angelic women that are just so beautiful, and they literally lure you to your death and just fucking eviscerate you.
And the funny thing about them is that I've heard so many different stories is that they look like beautiful women outside of the water, but once they get submerged, they just look like this horrifying creature, and it's just like, no, thank you.
So fucking good, but so fucking terrifying.
It's like,
and that's been around for years. And even in Greek mythology, there's
sirens.
And they're, again, most of the time your usual human half-breeds that I'm pretty sure are not depicted how we normally see them, but who knows? Could be wrong.
Yeah,
that could be how it is.
and a lot of people like to attribute the mermaids to manatees.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's what On the Sea was out, and remember, the only reason why we kind of can confirm that is because there are sailors, and there's recorded history of sailors probably with the manatees.
I got me a mermaid, boys. I'm going after its blowhole. Sir, that is a sea cow. That is a mammal.
But this is also, again, fucking 200, 300, 400 years ago, if not longer, again, throughout all of human history.
Yeah, I mean, hell, scurvy was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all that really was a vitamin C deficiency. Who knew? You mean if I eat this orange thing, my teeth will stop falling out? That is exactly what I'm saying, scurvy beard.
Oh, I don't like that.
Oh, it sounds complicated. Like, what? But yeah, like, dude, they're like, it's so funny to see like so many different versions of the same thing throughout the world, especially in like certain areas where like here in America we have, let's see if I can remember them all. We have the abominable snowman, the friggin' Bigfoot, skunk ape, and then a couple different versions of the Sasquatch. And and like each story is different because like the skunk ape is specific to like southern Florida, and the way you can tell where it is because it's just a horrid smell. But then again, it's the same thing with Bigfoot. And then you're like, like I know the pictures and the really blurry footage from back in like the 60s or 70s, was it?
I think so. I don't remember. It's a very famous footage too. It's the something tapes. I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, like could you imagine like that, like actually being out camping with your family, enjoying a nice day, and you look up and you just see like a 9-foot hairy thing just
Tromping around in the woods. Yeah.
It's time to go home now.
Yeah, you see that? This is exactly why we're never coming back out here. Enjoy it.
You see, this is its home. We're going back where we came from. No. But like to hear the Sasquatch's description and then hear like descriptions of like the skunk ape,
or hearing like people survive those attacks, like the supposed attacks. I mean, hell, it could be a bear for all we know, but still, regardless, imagine like not knowing what's coming up onto you. All your animals are freaking out, or there's just that fucking standstill in the air that you're about to die, and like all sound fades from existence. Like, yeah, that feeling, and then just being attacked, like the supposed Bigfoot attacks or whatever, is like it sounds terrifying. Yeah, it could be a bear, but imagine if it wasn't.
Imagine if it wasn't. Like, I don't know what happened.
No.
The sassy squash just walked up into my campsite and pimp smacked me. Did you say pimp smack? He pimp smacked. He gave me the full backhand. Like, sir, are you sure it was a Sasquatch? He looked me dead in my eyes and said, "I'm Bigfoot, motherfucker. No one's gonna believe you."
Could you imagine if that's how a Bigfoot sounded? That'd be fucking great.
Like, oh, I am the Sasquatch.
I am the Sasquatch.
Like, why do you sound like you're in a 70s adult film, sir? Sir.
I don't ask the questions around here, you better listen.
I can use you as a loofah. Why a loofah? I can't reach my back all the way. I understand. That's a problem that affects us all.
It's just fucking hearing them, though. Like, it's the realism though of that thought of just something physical like that. Like, again, like if mermaids were existing and fucking you're out in the ocean, it's like you're lost at sea quite literally, and this thing's like, I'm here to guide you, and next thing you know, you're fucking dead.
Yeah, it's like it's having you drive your ship into some jagged rocks just to sink you, and it's just like, huh, lol.
Got me good there, bro. Good joke. It was a good prank.
Ah, those dang sirens, they got me again.
Third time, I'm probably getting demoted now.
Oh, Jason and the Argonauts are going to be so pissed. That's right. Historical jokes. I got them. But what's actually funny is that before the I shouldn't say funny because this affects a lot of people in very odd ways. But when we were when Miz and I were talking about like real like fears that we have and experiences that we have with stuff. He brought up sleep paralysis, which is actually funny because one of the creatures that I picked was the mare. And what some people attribute to sleep paralysis, the weight on the chest, the visions, the thing just kind of like watching you and stuff like that, it ties into the mare because what the mare does is it waits for you to be in a dead sleep and it'll steal like it won't steal your entire soul or your entire life force. It just kind of like sucks it out a little bit at a time while it feeds. And if you wake up, you're not supposed to move or it'll kill you. And there's also a thing called a boohag, which is a lot like a mare. But basically what happens, the difference between the mare and the boohag is that the mare was known to sit on people's chests. And if they, hold on, I'm messing up something. And, but like, oh, not the mag.
The mag.
That's not how you spell that. But yeah, the mare was like it was wow, there's a movie out. There's a movie out about it. Folklore. Here we go. Here we go. Mare. It's like this will tell you some of the origin. It was an Old English, Old Dutch, Proto-Slavic, Old High German, Old Norse, and Swedish. And
damn, that goes back.
Yeah. And then the mare was believed to ride horses, which left them exhausted and covered in sweat by morning. And it's widely believed that the mare is female. It said that she could also entangle the hair of sleeping man or beast, resulting in mare locks. I'm not gonna try and say that because it's like I'm, it basically means mare braids, but I don't know how to speak Swedish or Norwegian, so excuse me. Um, but they were known to ride trees, humans, branches, and tangling stuff. So like when you wake up and you got like big messy hair after having like real bad sleep, and you're just like, oh, that was a weird dream. It's believed that these guys would do that, and they would turn into animals such as frogs, cats, horses, hares, dogs, oxen, birds, and even bees and wasps and stuff like that. But essentially, what would happen is what they would pick the victim, and while the victim was asleep, is they'd sit on the chest and cause you to have terrible, realistic nightmares. And if you woke up midway through, it would basically like attack you if you tried to move and stuff like that. So it was like, hey, it's cool to know that our ancestors back then were trying to friggin', like they were like, hey, we believe that this supernatural demon is attacking us in our sleep, causing us to have sleep paralysis, but also we're having sleep paralysis. This is an ongoing issue. Like, that's like that's terrifying because that's lore and quote unquote a supernatural creature that exists and is based off of something.
I didn't know how far back that dated, but like I was telling you stories, like I've experienced sleep paralysis. Demons happened before, waking up in the middle of the night, fucking locked, only your eyes moving, and everything else feels like scary to do. It's terrifying, and to hear that's been around for fucking centuries is like even scarier because it's just not you, and it's like, what if it's happened to everyone here throughout history?
Because it's known to cause night terrors. It's known to cause like vivid dreams about vivid nightmares. But that's where we get the term nightmare from. But each region that I mentioned has a different name for it. In German, it's called an Alp. I'm not going to try and say the Swedish or Norwegian version of it because it's like a malfotir or something along those lines. Please, if you know how to say it, let me know. But like in Old English, they referred to it as a mare because it was originally known to like ride the horses, locking up their hair, and everything like that. And there's a long history of like accounted nightmare or mares and stuff like that. There's even two famous paintings. One is called The Nightmare by Fuseli, dating back to 1781. And the other one is called The Nightmare, also by The Nightmare of Variation, also by Fuseli. And that one was dated 1790 or 1791. So like basically it has a gargoyle looking demon kind of like crouched over and sitting with its knees up under its chin and perched on this woman's chest as she's kind of like falling off the bed and like oh shit, I'm having a bad dream while like a ghost horse is in the background like, what's going on in here, guys? And it's crazy to know that like our ancestors suffered from this stuff, and it's like I too have had the spooky and spicy dreams.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But that is terrifying. And that was one of the creatures that I picked because to know that we have a creature like the mare, but we also have a creature called the buhag. And this one is kind of in the North Carolina, South Carolina region specific. And what the buhag does is that it drains some of your soul off, just like the nightmare does and stuff like that. But if you wake up and you try to fight her off, it will take your skin. So it's just like, oh, you woke up, you moved, gimme.
You want to see me fillet you?
And what's really messed up about it is that it can't go out into the sunlight in order to go out into the sunlight. It has to make it back to its old skin before morning, or take yours, whichever. And it will come back night after night doing this to the same person until that person either A, wakes up and tries to fight the buhag, B, defends himself in some way, which there's several different ways, which I can't remember right offhand, or C, gets taken by the buhag. Like it's like, ooh, new skin
My
suit.
skin.
Yeah.
Bye.
Dang it, Boohag got me again. But though
Again. Oh my god. Could you imagine getting like all the way down to the last one? It's like, it's your last chance to fight back. Fuck it, I don't want to do it again.
I'm already skinless. What more can you do to me? You got muscle. No.
No.
But the main difference between the mayor and the Boohag is that the Boohag is depicted as a skinless human when it's outside of its skin. The mayor is just described as like a demon. And it's like there's several differences, but to know that like you can wake up and have sleep paralysis from both the nightmare and the Boohag, but if you fight the nightmare, you're like, oh, okay, you know, I kind of woke up and I'm a little bit more tired, but with the Boohag, you're like, I'm not going to move an inch. Nope, you breathe funny. I saw your nostril flare. Gimme.
Yeah.
Aw,
That'd be
aw.
fucked up, dude. That'd be so fucked.
You done messed up, AA Ron.
Imagine hitting you with that as they're fucking filleting you.
It's like, thought tonight was gonna be a quiet night. Zoop.
Oh, you're still moving every time I do this. Zip, 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 zip.
When did I install a zipper? You didn't. I did.
Easy access.
Aha. Same time next week. Ow.
It hurts.
Why'd you pour salt on me?
Oh god, fuck that.
Yeah. Like that's just like but yeah, like even in North, like to know that these things are like 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 Norse mythology in and of itself is a wild ride. It's a rabbit hole that is actually really fun to read and look into and stuff like that, but they don't really have evil entities like such as demons or ghouls and ghosts like that. Like Western religion does, like more Western religion than, you know, the Scandinavians and Norse folk, but they have spirits like the nightmare and stuff like that to kind of be like, hey, I had a really bad dream last night and I couldn't move. And it's like, wow, you guys hear that? Sven found a new fear. Damn it, Sven, quit inventing shit.
Dude, fucking yeah. It's been going on for years. It's good
Yeah.
to know you're not alone. Always good to know.
Yeah. What was one of the creatures that you picked, Miss?
One of the other ones that I wanted to do was the chupacabra, but that's also because it's like a story I remember growing up with my grandparents and my grandmother on my dad's side. We would just the stories that how we were introduced with it. It was mostly just this hairless dog was what it's always referred to us, and just
It kind of
kills your
matches
goats.
the description. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kills your goats. But like even still, it's like a lot of like Latin, and it also happens like that same similar story in Spain. So it's
Yeah.
very, very weird, and it's also like associated with like the vampirism because it drains the blood of your goats, and that's why we always call it the goat killer.
Turned your goat into a Capri Sun.
It's like a vampire, just right for the neck.
Yeah, and what's really weird is that you always hear about like a skinless quadrupedal. I hope I said that right. Quadrupedal animal that's just like walks into your goat farm in the middle of the night and just like
Yeah, just what's that noise?
what the hell? I had 12 goats. I'm down to 2. And they're just sitting there just meh. That one's terrified. He's seen some shit.
He's seen some shit.
But yeah, like they like and what's really messed up about that is that the description from both Spain and a lot of Latin America countries, it's all consistent. Like it's some type of like quadrupedal animal.
Yeah, it's like either like a reptile like or hairless dog is usually what's
Yeah.
referred to, like a giant rat, like a bigger capybara that's like elongated limbs.
Oh god, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I know, that's why I said it that way.
I could imagine a capybara with friggin' like prehistoric capybara that just somehow survived, and it's just like I eat meat, and it's like
I'm not surprised.
My favorite line from Wanted back in the early 2010s: "Shoot that motherfucker." No, thank you. Like, no. Speaking of Latin America, one of my because I was adopted by a Mexican family, and growing up, when my adoptive mom, when she wanted me and my brother to behave, she would tell us the story of like La Llorona. And what was really messed up about that story was that we were at that age to where we were still really impressionable, and she would talk about like, oh, one of her friends, aunties, uncles, college roommates, grandnieces went missing, and they never found her
family.
Yeah. And what was really messed up is that me and my brother, we like, if I were to call him right now and ask about when we took the trip down to Zacatecas, where his stepdad's from, down in Mexico, because this is back in this is post 9/11, but this was when you could get in and out of Mexico with just your birth certificate to prove that you're an American national, or your green card. But I took a trip down there one summer with them to go visit his family, my brother's stepdad's family. And while we were walking from one of our cousin's friend's house back to his stepdad's his grandparents' house, we saw what looked like a lady in white sitting on a light post. And we're just like, nope. Because we heard the stories where you'd hear her crying first, and if she saw you while you were out past a certain hour, and 9 times out of 10, being 90s and early 2000s kids, this was, right when the streetlights came on. You'd see her sitting on.
You're about to die if you didn't get home.
It's like,
you're in trouble or about to die, or both.
It's like, dude. It's like, I'm more scared of my mom than I am of La Llorona. So I'm gonna get home before those streetlights come on, because I don't want to get snatched by the La Llorona, because mom will find me and I will get my butt beat with La Chancla.
She'll probably leave me with her.
Like, no, take him, mijo. You messed up. I told you come home before the streetlights came on, but you don't listen. No, sabes qué? Your problem. Dang, mom, messed up.
Kind of cold, ma.
Hey. But yeah, like the gist of the story was like I guess you could say the main takeaway was that a woman lost her husband in either the Civil War of Mexico or some war or the Spanish American War, depending on which version you hear. She was part of a rich, wealthy family, and she was so grief stricken that she drowned her 3 kids. And the kids are always like indiscriminate ages. One's like a tween. And then the other 2 are
like toddlers or younger.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, they like the oldest one is like a tween, and then the other 2 are like prepubescent. So you don't know if the oldest is like a teenager, like in that weird transitionary phase.
10 to 14.
Yeah, like they're like 10 to 16 ish.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like that.
They could still go to middle school, maybe, or they could still go to like elementary school, or I could see them in high school. I don't know.
They might be in 5th grade. They might be in 10th. I don't know. But it was like,
you never know.
And it was like, I was like, it like really messed me and my brother up, because my brother, he does not do horror. Me and my brother are like night and day when it comes to horror. Like, I'll watch a scary movie. He don't like it. He's the only person I've ever seen stand up in the middle of a movie theater when something jump scared him and he started swinging at the screen, and we were nowhere near the screen. But that was his reflex. It's funny now, but at the time I was like, dang, love my brother to death. But it was like, we wouldn't even talk about La Llorona, because our younger siblings never got to hear those stories, because mom let them get away with murder. We got the beat downs. They got the talking to. Like, this is not fair.
We suffered so you could run.
We got made to walk because she about crippled us a couple times, so that way you could run. Like,
see, you get the privilege to talk back. I haven't did my time. You get to reap what I sowed.
I got a scar from a wooden spoon on the back of my head because I said no one time too many.
You want to know what happens when I got a D? When I got a D?
Hell, when I got a C.
Oh my god, never enough.
But yeah, it was just like we wouldn't even tell them the story because we were expecting mom to kind of like step in because they were at that age to where they started doing the same dumb stuff we were doing. No, she never told him. So me and my brother, we tried to tell him one night, and his stepdad thought it'd be a great idea to, like, this is pre-YouTube, pre-Spotify, so you couldn't just play, stuff on Bluetooth speakers and all that fun stuff. So what he did was he cracked my brother. He cracked my brother's window about this much and was out back in the garage, and we didn't see him because he didn't have the light on or anything like that. But he was out back in the garage, and we were telling them the story as they were like huddled around our bed. And notice how I said our bed. We shared a bed. We was broke. But me and my brother is sitting there telling the story of, La Llorona. She drowned her kids, yada yada yada. And while this is going on, we didn't hear, friggin' Poppy sneak up to the window, put his lips right up against the crack of the window, and we're like, and now whenever you hear crying out in the world, hey, you better be in home, you better be in your house behaving, or she'll come get you. And from behind us, all we hear is, me and my brother were gone. We pushed our brothers behind us, like, take them.
Trip him, let the ghost get him.
Your problem. And me and my brother were gone. We ran through the house, woke up mom. She was pissed. Dad was in the backyard laughing. Me and my brother were like, that's not funny. That's not funny. But yeah, nothing bonds you like some childhood shared trauma of a shared experience of a threatened ass whooping.
Yeah, I was gonna say fucking trauma bonding. So fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, story of my life. But yeah, I don't know what it was about, because what is it, here in America we have the boogeyman, but
yeah.
in this isn't one of the monsters I picked,
even if you don't call it, we've always, well, at least for me, I've always classified the boogeyman as like any spooky shit that happens when you're a kid, like your clothes turning into fucking a live person, or you're just staring at this big dark square section in your closet at, like, with your little nightlight, and you just like happen to see something move. Could have been like a car light making the shadows move or whatever, but like whatever the reasoning is, you see some fucking light in there and you just shit your bed like, nope, I'm not sleeping tonight. This monster's gonna get me today. If I fall asleep now, I'm dead. It's like always this like mysterious figure. So it's like, that's what I've always known as the boogeyman, and I don't really know a lot of like actual boogeyman like lore, if there is any, but like that's how I've always known. It's just like this dark spirit that's just, it could be literally anything in your fucking room when you're a kid. And that's why, like, the was
pretty much the lore on it.
Yeah, fair. But like the 0406 movie Boogeyman, that is like my favorite horror movie intro ever. That intro
loved that
terrified the fuck out of me, because I think everyone has experienced that at least once in their life.
Yep. Where you're like, oh, that jacket in my closet that I know was a jacket is no longer a jacket, and it's staring at me.
Yeah, it's just that fear, that irrational childhood fear. Like, I'll tell a story right here. I remember this being one time I got scared absolutely shitless by a family friend. So
those are the best.
Like, it's like a fucking weekday, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, some shit. I had school the next day. Right. And I'm sitting up, staying late. It's like 9:15 p.m. I'm way past my bedtime. Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna watch Friday as I'm trying to fall asleep on very low volume, because I'm like 10, 11-ish. I'm not supposed to be watching that movie, but fuck, I'm watching Friday. Yeah. And unbeknownst to me, I'm watching this movie and I keep hearing someone like sing NSYNC's Bye 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 outside. Because I'm sitting there watching this movie. And mind you, there's a window right here. My bed is sitting right underneath the window.
Right.
So when I'm tucked in the corner, and there's like a good like 3-foot distance between the window. So I'm hearing it down by like my feet, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Anywho, whatever. watching the movie. All of a sudden, I just hear bye, bye, bye. I was like, "Fuck is that?" And I'm about to go look outside the window, and he just bolts through my blinds and scares the ever living shit out of me. And he's just like, surprise! And I just fucking was screamed bloody murder, and I am crying my fucking eyes out. I am
That is hilarious.
horrified. And I just hear my mom come in and go, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, I thought it would be funny to scare him. And I did not want to talk to him for like 2 years. He absolutely terrified the shit out of me. And for the longest time, my bed was not underneath the window for years.
That is great. I'm sorry. That is funny.
Fantastic. It's a funny story to tell now.
At the time, fuck no.
In that moment, I thought I was dead. I about shit myself, dude. I was so scared. Dude, I could not sleep with the lights off for like a good month.
There was a friend of my mom's who they were really big into like scary stuff. And they would always get me like every once in a while, like walk up behind me like, what are you doing? Hey, like nothing ever too scary. But I had this brilliant idea. I was like, I was like 9, maybe 10, where I was gonna hide in their closet because we were hanging out. Like my mom was friends with their whole family, and the wife was home, who she was the closest with, but the husband hadn't came home yet. But I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna hide in the closet where he hangs his jacket up because I'm gonna scare the shit out of him. I didn't plan this prank out all that great, so I was like, I'm gonna grab like an article of clothing and just run at him as soon as he opens the door, just making a lot of noise. And I was like, I threw a hoodie over, like I threw an oversized hoodie because my mom's friend was a plus size woman. She was very she was like all like into like everything horror. She had like the full Puppet Master box set. She had like,
oh my God.
like that full 50 DVD collection of like real life ghost stories. And it was like people just sitting there like, I was haunted as a little child. I don't know what happened. We just moved in the house and some spooky stuff started she was deep into it. She even had like a old wooden Ouija board. And the Ouija board itself, like that thing creeped me out. Like we came into the house one time and I kid you not, believe or don't believe, totally fine. I'm a believer in the supernatural, but the planchette, right after she first got it, because she bought it at like a it's like a thrift store but for antiques. I forget what it's called. But
well, it has an antique store, but
yeah, I think it was just like an antique store, but I thought it had a special name. But but yeah, she bought it at the antique store, right? And this thing is like full wooden. It's like heavy, thick, dense wood. And when we walked into the house, the china cabinet it was in fit perfectly in the corner by the door. You walked in through the door, and then you turn to your left, and you entered in through the living room. And the china cabinet was perfectly in that corner. When she first got it, I was eye level with the board because I've always been a short dude. And when we first walked in, the planchette was facing towards the corner. It turned and looked at me. Like it just didn't move side to side, nothing. And it just went. And I was like, oh, I'm not touching that. But yeah, so she was deep into horror and ghosts and spooky stuff. What I didn't realize is that her husband doesn't like to be scared. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to swing on it if it scares me. But he screamed, or excuse me, her ex-husband. He screamed like a girl. It was hilarious. Like, not like, oh yeah, I totally screamed like a girl. No, like he screamed like Mariah Carey. Yeah, super high pitched notes. And I didn't know this. So I threw like an oversized hoodie. It was one of my mom's friend's hoodies over top of me. And I'm just sitting there in the closet. I'm waiting. I know he's going to be home in like 2 minutes. I'm sitting there. I'm just waiting. My mom knows I'm in the back of the closet. She seen me go in there. I was like, hey, I'm gonna scare. I'll use her real name. She won't be upset. I'm gonna scare Tori's husband. And she's like, okay. She tells her friend Tori. And her and my mom are just kind of like sitting there on the couch watching something on TV. And right when he comes in through the door and everything like that, he's talking to my mom and Tori. And right when he opens the door, I run out and I'm just like, oh, no, 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 no. He screamed, threw everything he had in his hands down, which in his left hand was his car keys and his lunchbox, and his right hand was a whole case of Miller High Life. Just everything on the ground. And as he's trying to run backwards, he slips on the beer and busts his ass and goes through the wall. And he's just sitting in the hole and he's like, what the fuck? And I'm dying laughing. Like, I fell on the floor holding my sides. My mom and her friend Tori are dying on the couch. And I'm just sitting there just on the floor holding my sides, tears streaming down my face. And he's just sitting there, a grown-ass man in his 30s, or just about in his 30s, is sitting in the wall stuck. And I'm just like, fucker. Surprisingly, you never scared me after that.
Nice. I was gonna say it's you had tears of joy running down yours in that experience, and I had the opposite. I was the one scared and crying.
Exactly. It's like when you're like, he bolted out of my blinds, I was like, oh, he was sneaky.
Dude, he had slowly took off the fucking window screen without me hearing, and fucking prepped the fucking like blinds. He's like, okay, I'm gonna jump out now. It was terrifying. Like I said, I don't think I've ever been more scared or fucking like just I'm dead and, and any other moment than that right there. It's like my first experience. I was like, that was like a near death experience to me. I thought I was gonna die of a heart attack. I was so scared.
You're sitting there like that kid when he got scared, just
oh, dude, I didn't calm down from crying for like a good 15 minutes, dude. I don't blame you. Screaming.
I got
I fucking done.
I don't know if this was from years in the Marines, but I learned this could have just been me just trying to be a sneaky kid or trauma or whatever you want to attest this to. But I learned to walk to where I glide when I step. If like when I'm walking around the house, because I know my house, I know my surroundings in my house, I know where I can step and what I can't step on, because it's like, oop, that's a toy, oop, that's a shirt, oop, that's gonna make noise. I don't want to wake anybody up. And I get up in the middle of the night and I have this paranoid thing in my head. I'm like, I gotta go check the door, gotta go check my daughters, gotta check my uncle, gotta check my wife, and then I'll lay back down, watch something on YouTube, fall back asleep. Well, one night I didn't realize it, but my daughter had woken up in the middle of the night and went to go use the bathroom. And she normally turned the light on, and this is the one chance that she had just gone into the bathroom and I didn't hear it, and she hadn't turned the light on yet. And I walk past the door. I make it out to the living room. I check the front door, make sure it's locked, and make sure like all the lights in the house are off and everything like that. Make sure everything's locked up nice and tight. I check the cars, and then because we have people that break into cars out here all the time. They won't break the glass. They just make sure that the door's unlocked. And if the door's unlocked, they go in and they take whatever they can get their hands on. So I check the cars, come back in, lock the door. And as I'm making my way down the hallway, she's like walking down the hallway, rubbing her eyes. And I'm like, looking around my living room, making sure that there's like, again, paranoia, making sure there's no broken glass in my big front window or anything like that. And as I'm like, I turn around, me and her like meet eyes and scare the shit out of each other. I'm like, and she sits there and she looks at me and she goes, I was like, oh, are you okay? And she goes, you scared me. And I was like, you scared me? And she was like, why are you crying? I was like, because this is funny. And she goes, it's not funny. Will you tuck me in, please? And I'm like, yeah, I'll tuck you in. So I put on something on the TV. I don't even remember what it was. It was something on Disney. And I tuck her in, all nice and tight, give her a little kiss on the forehead, give her a little pat, check on her sister, leave the room. Well, I think back to it and I'm like, this is for years. That was payback for years of her walking into my, because like I always sleep with my bedroom door open so that way I can hear what's going on in the house.
Dude, kids in the middle of the night are the fucking creepiest, especially because they get to the fucking room somehow and they're staring you dead in the face, and that's what scares the shit out of you because you're like, and they're already just staring at you, waiting for you to wake up. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
What was
swinging?
Oh, dude, I have really weird reflexes. Like some days it's like I can control it to where I assess my target before I even try to swing. But when my daughter was about just over okay, G-force. I'm glad I can edit that out. But my daughter, like as I did that, it was like, I'll edit that out. But my daughter, who was just above eye height of my bed, which my bed isn't super high off the ground. It's just like I can swing my legs off, my feet are touching the ground. I'm not a tall guy. I'm only 5'7". She was standing on the edge of the bed, right here, just right here, away from my face. And I was having a weird dream. I don't remember the dream. I don't remember exactly what would happen, but I remembered this. And she's just sitting there, just staring at me, smiling. And my eyes kind of like cocked open, and I have a hold of her shirt. Like I had her lifted up off the ground by her shirt, and I'm just sitting there staring at her. And she's like, "Daddy," and I'm like, "Hi, how are you?" I was like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah." "Are you okay, Daddy?" And I'm like, "Mm-hmm."
I'm fine,
like,
don't worry about it.
I'm like, "Baby, please quit scaring Daddy. Please stop that." Much appreciated.
I know they don't do it intentionally, but it is the fucking scariest shit, dude. Because like, there have been so many times where, like, when I was living with my parents, because I had my son very, very young, and I fucking would have to wake up in the middle of the night, be mom and dad, and all this other fun stuff. But like, there was just so many times when he was out of his crib and we started getting used to his regular bed and so on and so forth. Motherfucker, I used to like have my two fucking I don't know, my two mattresses in my little corner so that way I could fucking fall asleep. And I just, small little area. I don't need a lot to fucking get comfortable. And this I love him, but this little shit would always fucking just either climb on top of me, and like if I'm like facing the wall right here and I'm facing like this, he'll like climb on top of me, put his face right here, like right in my ear, and then start talking, which scares the absolute shit out of me until it wakes.
It's terrifying.
Or if he can see my face, he just stares at me, like just, yeah, exactly, just completely just. And then you wake up, it's like, yeah, it's like I wake up, it's like, what's up, buddy? What are you doing? What's going on? I'm thirsty. Or some random shit. It's like, oh my god, dude, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Oh, you scared the shit out of me. My oldest had this bad habit. What she would do is she would get nice and settled right on the edge of the bed to where I could only see like this much of her eyes. And then she'd reach up over the bed and poke me in my forehead, like just gently enough to where I could feel it, but it wouldn't like disturb me. Because I sleep on my left side because my right shoulder is jacked up, so I can sleep on it sometimes, but not a lot. And what she would do is she would just sit there and just poke me repeatedly until I woke up. And I opened my eyes one night and she's just sitting there and she goes, "Hi, Daddy." And I'm like, Jesus.
See, dude, I'm so glad I have the restraint to not like react and punch first. But God, it is like the initial reaction to just like fucking throw your body spasm at it is so real, and you have to fight that back every time. That's what I love about being scared nowadays. Yeah. It's like super, I'm not trying to be all like, oh, I'm not scared by anything. It's like, it's super hard for me to like get that feeling because like you can feel these setups for jump scares coming a lot more. There's none of that like, holy shit, this was not something I was expecting to scare me. Like an actual like jump scare that's really there instead of just your typical, okay. Like an actual like guttural, my heart, oh my god, that caught me off guard, like scare. I need that. That's what I need in my horror movies.
Yeah, and that's like why I'm kind of happy that we have like these old stories that get passed down, because you're like, my mom's mom told this to her, so now she's telling it to me, and now I'm telling it to my kids, and they're just like, because like my great aunt when I was a kid, she used to tell me about Krampus because my family's only been here in America roughly 100 years. My birth family has only been here in America roughly 100 years. And so we came over here from Germany, and the thing over there is that they have Krampus, the anti-Santa. So if kids are bad, he takes them away.
Punished.
Yeah, he punishes them, just like the movie Krampus. Big surprise, spoiler alert. But
On a story that's years old.
yeah. So what I did this past Christmas was I was waiting for my daughter to fall asleep so I had to make sure the door was closed so that way I could sneak the presents out of my closet and under the tree, because we only had like small, little presents from me and Mom under there with totally different wrapping than what Santa brought. And I told her about I go to like check on her, and she's still sitting awake, and she's like, Dad, I think I heard Santa, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, listen, if you don't go to bed, Santa's not going to come, and then Krampus will come. And she was like, what's Krampus? I told her the story of Krampus and everything like that. And she's like, I'm gonna go to bed now, and just goes and lays down. And she was like, am I safe? And I'm like, only if you're asleep, baby. Only if you're asleep. She's like, okay. She never sleeps without her TV on, even if it's not playing anything and it's just got the weird Roku background. Turn the TV off, locked her tablet, asleep. And I'm like, ninja time. I'm just shoo, 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 shoo.
Yeah, no, passing down stories is fucking great. It's just also funny at the same time because, like, at some point they're going to experience that. Like with our kids, for example, they'll experience that at some point down the line, maybe. Or the fact that it's just some of their friends might be dickish enough to do the same stuff that we would do to scare each other, like our friends and so on and so forth, and creates those new ones. It's fucking great. And it's just still weird to me. Like, I know this is nothing new to most, probably our targeted audience that's roughly around our ages, but it's like, it's wild that, like, even just telling stories like this makes you feel connected with so many different people. Because, like, when we were all growing up, it was like only within our hometown, and more recently, like as high school and stuff, you got your online games that you got to meet people. There wasn't really a big connection to really connect everyone. Now you have all these different social media apps, and you have like Twitter, TikTok, and all that stuff where like an algorithm kind of fits you with your fucking targeted demographic, and it's so good to see so many like shared things, and I love it.
Because like I remember being a kid, like you had to pick up, like you actually had to go pick up a book in order to like learn about something, because Google wasn't the number one search engine growing up. It was Ask Jeeves.
You had like an internet that had no real good search engine, and when you did have to look anything online, it was fucking a whole day just to research like one website and possibly print off that entire website and pages and then study that way.
Yeah. And then like that was just so that way your mom could make a phone call for work tomorrow and figure out what time she's got to go in, because nobody had email.
Yeah, and that was a thing that was barely becoming a thing too. It was like, oh my god, this is scary. And like, and now we're at this point where like you don't even need half of that stuff now. Hell, even emails you are pretty much obsolete now. You can just do like, your phone does everything. You still need an email, obviously, for many reasons, but it's like, it just feels like you really don't. I mean, I use like, how do you keep everybody connected in some way, shape, or form? You have Discord now. You have so many different social groups and things like that. There's just so many ways, and just like now we can share all this experience and or share trauma, like I did.
Yeah, and you know what's really funny? This is gonna throw you for a loop. I still have access to my old Hotmail account.
Jesus Christ. I don't remember when there was some time in like school, I think it was like elementary or middle school, when we had to make our first email, and it was a Hotmail one. I don't even remember anything about it.
Hey, I was like, I think I can guess the password for it. So I tried to guess the password, couldn't guess it. I like forgot password. It was like, do you have a secondary email? I was like, oh, I can use the one I made when I was like 15. I sent it to that one, signed up through it, went back and looked. Nothing but spam. There was no spam filter on that mother.
No,
it's like, oh my god,
your inbox is literally full of it, because they had no fucking shifters or for that, for like spam, or this might be something you subscribe to. It might not have been.
I'm sorry. The time we grew up was a lot was actually really scary. I was almost going to say a lot scarier than it is now, but it's just as equally scary because that was when AIM and Yahoo chat rooms were a thing, and you didn't know if you were talking to somebody that was same age
Like
as you
this, or
yeah.
no, it was all just text format. And that's unfortunately where we had a lot of the whole Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator and stuff like that, because that was a common thing happening a lot, unfortunately. I mean, people were abusing the new technology that was out.
Mm-hmm. And then that's where we got the famous "just have a seat" catchphrase from.
It's fucking insane. But again, growing up in a fucking upcoming technology, we had no restrictions at a point in time to where literally you didn't, what's considered the black web now, or the dark web, or whatever you want to call it, fucking the bad area of the internet. Like, that shit was literally front and page and center. Like, there was no way to get rid of it. Like, everyone could look up anything and everything at that point.
Mm-hmm. And then we also
insane.
We had so many. I'm not going to list any of them, but we had so many messed up websites that like your friends would send to you through like MySpace, and you're like, oh, look at this funny video back when like YouTube was in its fledgling state, and you click on it, you're like, oh my god, that's a turtle eating a rabbit.
Fucking YouTube channel that had like 10,000 subs. You're like, holy shit, this person's making it.
They're famous. I wonder how that's going to go.
Dude, it was wild. I mean, hell, a lot of fucking like Vine was also like with a lot of old memes just acted out instead of GIF forms, you know? Like, it was insane. Like, just seeing that technology to how we are now is, like, oh my god.
But yeah, like that, like, and what's funny is that like hearing these older folklore and legends and stuff like that, like we have modern day folklore and legends, you know, in the form of books, movies, comics, TV shows. Like, what's the show that you keep getting recommended? The Haunted on Hill House.
Yeah,
like a lot of people could consider some ties of that going back to like the Bell Witch or something along those lines, because it's like, this isn't spoilers, but it's
and so on and so forth.
A family being haunted by some supernatural entity, whereas like
the entire Paranormal Experience, the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yeah, that was a good like 99% of it, and then I'm sorry, they should have stopped after the second one, and because
some of them I can defend and some I can't. I enjoy the ride I get with them, but I mean, the first one was fine. It's not my genre.
First one was scary, and then I found out how they got those sequences to actually like get the legitimate reaction from the actors, which cracked me up.
Yeah,
which is just a dude in a green screen
budget. But that's the thing, is they had
and they made it work.
Small budget, and they made it work. That's the thing. It's like they did such a good job with what they had, and then obviously they did very well because they have like 5 sequels. Yeah, I could say like the first 3 as a whole would probably be like your best enjoyable experience personally. But I mean, they're not all terrible. They're not all great. Yeah. It's just this thing. If you like the first one, get ready for more of it. That's the best way to really describe them.
Yeah, but yeah, that like the whole thinking about a dude in a green screen suit, like, oh boy, time to go to work at like 3 a.m. He just kicks open the door, walks in, grabs her by her leg, and drags her down the hallway as like another dude in a green screen suit just slams the door shut, and you're like, that's freaking hilarious. And the director is like, got it, cut.
We're good.
Because those actors were legitimately asleep in the bed when the dude in the green screen suit was like, all right, time to go to work.
This is Jackass.
My name.
That sounds like a fucking Jackass skit if I ever heard one.
Hi, my name's. Oh wait, no, hold on. My name's Johnny Knoxville, and I'm going to be snatching this person out of their bed at 3 a.m.
Exactly. It seems like a skit they would do.
You know, it was on Jackass in the early days where they would fuck with each other in their sleep. Mm-hmm.
They were fucked up to each other. It was great. Childhood friends, gotta love them.
My favorite skit that they ever did was the medicine ball dodgeball, because like I can't remember which one it was in, but Steve-O grabbed one of them. It was like a 15-pound, like the big ones that have like the balls, and he like grabs it and like chucked it straight up. It went through the ceiling, came down, and took Wee Man the fuck out. Just
I remember which one it is. I remember which one you're talking about. Yeah, fucking great.
Died laughing. I'm gonna watch that later. But like could you imagine like how? Because it's funny to watch now, but could you imagine the panic in your voice? Like, shit, where'd that go?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
like, like, I'm sorry, that would be terrifying. It's like pitch black room, no windows, no form of light. You're just throwing around 15 pounds in an indiscriminate direction you hope isn't above your head.
Mm-hmm. Or in general, you just hope you don't get one in your face as you're moving around.
Yeah. And it's only like a 15 by 15 room to make matters worse. So you don't really have much anywhere to go.
You have nowhere to go.
And I still think it was funny when Johnny Knoxville was like, "Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass. This is medicine ball dodgeball." And it was like, click. You see the cameraman, he's just tucked away in the corner.
Tucked in his little corner.
And he's just like, don't hit me. And you see like one of them just shit whip the ball over their head, take out the coffee table, fall on the couch, about break their neck. And you're like, ha ha ha.
Oh yeah, dude. Again, the early 2000s, man, was like fucking wild.
Oh my God. That was so hard to describe. Like, I can't, I grew up being raised by my grandparents. When my grandma passed away, I got adopted by a Mexican family. And it was really, it's so hard to like describe how I grew up versus like how my mom grew up and how my grandparents grew up to like my kids.
Compare stories in that sense. Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, again, how many times have we told, even still to this day, like back in my day, it's like, dude, you're not that much older than me. It's like 10 years. Come on, calm your shit down. And then you get some people that's like, who we thought were adults are now in their like 50s, 60s, and 70s. It's like, oh shit, dude. Now thinking about their time, oh my God.
You're like, you were 40 when I was 10.
You were an adult, and I'm almost there now, and I don't feel like an adult.
I don't feel like I'm on your level, and like, I say all of that to say this, like, hearing these word of mouth stories make it this far into history, like, it's to me, it's mind boggling because
oh yeah.
Like back then, that's all they had for entertainment. But now we've got so much at our fingertips. We could like creepypastas. Like I don't know enough about them.
We may talk crap about certain genres of horror or like creepypastas and stuff. Like I said, they're not for me kind of thing. But like legitimately, as long as like you still get that like I'm telling a story aspect. Like hey, we're camping, or we're what some people and like especially my hometown we used to do is our camping sometimes was like, hey, we're all staying at someone's house and we're pitching a tent in the backyard and we're gonna stay up telling ghost stories and chilling and being little fucking boys in a fucking tent.
Yeah, and like we're staying up till 3 a.m. doing dumb shit.
Yeah, exactly, and fucking telling ghost stories and all this other stuff. That's like what the creepypastas are now today for everyone, and like it's not hard to find people's like fanfic of certain things either. It's great, but it's like also silly at the same time, because it's like this brings such joy to me personally, because it's like how else would all these people have been able to come together and without bonding over something, Yeah,
because I mean we went from having like the one I have pulled up right now, which is one of the ones that I don't really know a lot about. I know a little bit, but it's called the Jorigumo. And what it is it's essentially a spider lady that's a succubus, because she seduces you and then she eats you. Like there's like like, oh, spider mommy, like it's
a win-win, as they say.
Yeah, like it like going from that to, I'll use Slenderman because we were adults when Slenderman became a thing, and
technical adults, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were still like fucking
late teens, early 20s.
I was going to say, yeah. I think Slender was like actually my high school, like 06, 07, maybe 08.
Yeah.
No, was it that?
Because
actually I think it might have been a little bit later, because that's where like Pewdie and Mark really got their reactions going and their horror fans. So also Jacksepticeye. Yeah, I remember all that. So God, was it that long ago? Fuck, it might have been like tens.
That was early 2010s.
That makes me feel old.
Yeah. because we were around the same age as those guys. Like Markiplier, I think, is the oldest because he's only like I think he's only like 35 at most, and Pewdie is like 32.
My God, it just seems more wild than that. Honestly, it seems more wild than that.
And to like see, you know, like the transition from like, oh, don't stay out late at night, or this lady in white is gonna drown you as a kid, to hearing to like now where it's like, oh, the Slenderman can teleport, it can do this, and it can just take you indiscriminately, but it has to choose you.
If you don't take all the pictures or collect them all, you're fucked, you know?
Yeah. And it's like
the worst game of hide and seek ever.
Yeah, because there's no way that you win, and like to see the transition go from like word of mouth to actual like documented cases, or even
video game format of that. Like again, there's a game I had that I played on stream not too long ago. That was like Wendigo based, and like even seeing video games based off of that. You have your Bigfoot game, you have the Rake. There's many.
The Rake.
There's so many of like these were word of mouth stories or like documented, quote unquote. I use that because of the Bigfoot footage and stuff. We see those actually transitioned into like X-Files, movies, actual games, and some books, and like spawning more and then coming up with more. And it's just so fucking crazy seeing the transition of everything. Is like really baffles me how we went from like, hey, have you heard the story of Bigfoot, like being in kindergarten, to now where it's like, hey, I'm just gonna search up everything now. I can just type in folklore and look at all the shit I can get. Yeah,
like you'll get the good, the bad, and the indifferent with like all of it. You're like, oh, there's a pixie that if I leave cream outside my window, it gives me good fortune. To like, oh, if I fart at night, this one monster is gonna slither out of my toilet and strangle me from the inside. And it's like, oh, I don't like this one. But
Ma, they're being weird again, pick me up.
Ma, I'm not having a good time here, kids getting weird. But yeah,
it's fucking just sorry, I know we kind of went on a little sidetrack, but that one just really took me for a loop, because it just sharing the stories like is what I love. And that's like what I love about horror movies, is because like I love hearing what scared you. It's just such a good feeling, and knowing of like, hey, I felt the same way during that. Or it's so good just bonding. Again, it could be considered trauma bonding depending on how it is.
Because you're laughing at what was scary at the time.
It terrified me. I shit myself. Didn't seem to me, man. Hey, we're gonna trauma bond. You're gonna be my good friend. Let's go.
We have become mutual respected towards each other over this. Also,
we both know we shit each other's pants. You shit yours, I shit mine. We know that. That's a story we're not going to tell anybody else for at least a couple of years, right? Okay. Thank you.
At least until after therapy. But yeah, like it's just such a trippy world we live in now, because I remember the Dewey Decimal System, having to learn how to use it and go and find the right book made by the right author to be able to tell the story that I know, like front, back, forward, side, and side, and be able to put that on paper. Now it's like, what does Google say about this? It's like, oh, that book was incorrect and disproven to be not factual because of this that came out 10 years later, which is now available for free on Audible. Fuck.
Yeah, it's like everything I learned is a lie. It's like, again, we also had all the fucking people telling us, I don't know how many times I remember in middle school and fucking starting to get into high school, you're not always going to have a calculator in your pocket. You're not always going to have your camera in your pocket. And it's like, if you told fucking me 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or no, I shouldn't say 30 years ago, but like fucking 20, 25 years ago, hey, you're going to have an entire computer that's better than anything you're going to have right now in the palm of your hand in 24 years time, I would call you a fucking liar.
Yeah, because we had floppy disks that were this friggin' big that held like
you
maybe
still had a newer computer, you got a smaller one.
Yeah, that was that
with harder plastic.
Yeah, and you could pick really cool colors, and that's how you wrote stuff on because you couldn't email them to your teacher or share them through Zoom. But it only held
there and have your teacher pull it up.
And then it had the storage space of a whole 312 megabytes.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy. I remember going into a store, a fucking 512 megabyte flash drive was like $100. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
And it was like that fucking long.
And now, like, I walk into a store now, and they're like about that fucking big. It's like, oh yeah, you can have fucking a terabyte on here. Excuse me?
Yeah, like what? Like why? Like I could plug up several different external drive housings and have what was essentially the size of a floppy disk be 16 terabytes, and just there's some save space right there, baby.
Yeah. Back then,
And
I don't know how many flash drives you had to have for each class, or fucking how many different floppy disks you had to have for class, and then take it home. And if you were blessed with a computer at home, you could do all that. And then, or fucking, you know what? I gotta go to the library.
yep.
I gotta fucking sign up for this free card and sign in and use the computer for an hour.
Yep. Because I liked our library because it also had like free movie rentals that were for 3 days, and they had like all the like the niche B horror movies. They had all the friggin' the niche
Telenovas, fucking
Yep.
weird ass movies you've never even heard of.
That's how
we had a lot of religious movies in there as well.
Yeah, that's actually how I watched young Einstein.
Young
Was-
Einstein.
Yeah, there's
I've
so
seen that.
it's basically I forget the dude's name, but he's an Australian comedic actor. I can't remember his name, but he is Einstein when he's like in his like late teens, early 20s. He travels from Australia to like the new world, quote unquote, and shows them his amazing inventions. He invents the electric guitar in like the 1800s or early 1900s and stuff like that. It's a great movie, but like that's where I saw like some really cheesy and old horror movies for free. That's how I got introduced to the Blob, the thing from the Black Lagoon, or the creature from the Black Lagoon. It came from outer space, you know? And it was just all around. There was even a movie that I rented from there before I quit going there. I can't remember the name of it, but the premise of the monster was that it couldn't be killed the same way twice. So everybody got stuck in this time loop where once every so often this monster would come back and they would have to find a new way to defeat it. And they tried to make like 6 or 7 movies based off of it, but they only got to like 4. And once they defeated the monster, the hero was always the same guy. The people who died were always the same people. The love interest was always the same person. And what ended up happening is that each time he defeated it, he forgot how he defeated it previously. So like the first time, and like the first movie takes place after he's defeated it like 8 times. And the first time he defeated it, he literally just shot it. So the second movie starts out, or the second time he fights it, it starts off with him shooting it, and it doesn't work. So he sets it on fire, kills it. Like each time the movie gets like there's more people claimed, and he's got to find a new way to kill it. One of the ways that he killed it was he froze it. Another way that he killed it was he shot it in outer space and it died from lack of oxygen. He just progresses through these steps of killing it, and it's just like, all right. And
fair enough.
And they wanted to make 6. Oh yeah, for everyone out there, if there's a subject or a topic or a interest or anything that you want us to cover, please let us know, because like the Bell Witch, I was expecting it to be like a short
Yeah, I
piece.
was not honestly, I was not expecting to be tuned into what fucking started like the Blair Witch vibes. So, like now I'm like, that's gonna be like, after I'm like done with we're done with this, I'm gonna be going down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Same, and I'm probably gonna do a little bit of a deep dive on it in the next one, and we can compare notes and all that fun stuff.
Well, maybe. Also, we have something planned for later on. We're going to wrap up what we're going to call this season, and we'll give more information on that in the coming times. I think we'll go a couple more episodes before we mention anything.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah,
just be on the lookout. It's gonna be great.
For that, I've got some monsters, some supernatural creatures that we can talk about another time.
Go down. Yeah, we have a lot of supernatural creatures if we really want to. We have so many things that we can still do on so many other subjects.
So many. But yeah, there's so many different subjects that we already have that we can cover and go down rabbit holes on those and go on tangents about those. And it's just so crazy to me that we have this we have the technology, SpongeBob.
Yeah, we could easily do this. Like, again, 10, 15 years ago, all you really had was Skype, and that thing sucked.
Yeah, so bad.
And now it's like parts are much easier to access. Well, depending on when you were shopping, but still, like, there's just so much more ease of access to communicate with people and or like just bond with people. Just genuine bonding of just like, hey, you like something, I like something that we can talk about, and then just go from there and make new friendships that you never thought you would have had.
Yeah,
and that used to only be exclusive in the like gaming world because you would have your in-game mics or your party mics and stuff like that. That's where a lot of it really began. Beforehand, though, it was like some people in fucking Georgia and someone in California would never be able to really talk with each other unless they fucking somehow either A, ended up as pen pals, or B, you fucking happen to move into the same area.
Yeah, pen pals. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I said that. That's an old thought.
That's a really old thought. But yeah, like that's actually kind of what got me and Miz to become really close friends. Honestly, in my personal opinion, was our mutual love for horror monsters, them damn horror movies. Because I said something. I think it was because you said something about. It wasn't Evil Dead that we were talking about. It was
usually when it comes to horror, my go-tos that I usually bond over with people is like Nightmare on Elm Street specifically.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Or Hellraiser usually, but it's 90% of the time it's usually Nightmare on Elm Street.
And me and you ended up talking for like 2.5 hours just.
Oh yeah, because I remember that was leading up to doing the podcast or doing the bear episode, and then afterwards everyone leaving. It's like, yeah, we went into our own call and we just fucking shot the shit.
Yeah, till like sunrise on, because Miz lives on the West Coast, I live on the East Coast, so there's a 3-hour time difference between him and I. And we stayed up till like 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning just shooting the shit. He didn't have to be at work the next day. I didn't have to be at work the next day, so we just shot the shit like there was no tomorrow. No pun intended.
Great. Yeah, exactly. It was great.
Yeah. And then we started, and then it just
it's divulged into what it is now. Play games randomly, do games randomly. Just, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Okay, fucking, we're just talking.
Yeah. And then like the thought popped in my head. I don't want to take all the credit because Miz actually helped me with a lot of this.
Don't even.
No,
Miz is all Jimmy. Jimmy.
Miz is the name picker, I guess you could say. He's the one that like helps me narrow down subjects and everything like that. Like all I do is I just put a pretty little spin on it and slap it up on socials and stuff like that.
That's all I do. A lot of behind the scenes, man. Come on, let's not divulge it and make it like you ain't doing nothing. You're doing a lot. Come on. Give yourself credit where credit's due.
I refuse. It's a 90%, 10% take here.
And that's exactly how I am. So we're both at the 10%. Where's this other 80 going?
Mutual funds.
Fair enough. Okay, I can sign off on that one.
But yeah, like Miz actually is Miz is actually the reason why I even jumped off in this, because I had no before I even brought the subject up to him, I had no direction on anything. I was like, hey, I kind of want to do this podcast and I can't think of I didn't ask anyone first before even starting it, and I was just like, hey Miz, are you free like once a week?
And it's like, yeah, what's going on? And he just kind of threw the idea at me of like, I know you love horror movies and stuff, but like, how much do you love them? Like, would you be willing to do a podcast? It's like, well, it depends. I'm only limited on some of my knowledge, depending on what it is. And it was like, it would be like covering everything, books, games, horror, like all this other genres. And it's like, okay. And it's divulged into this and this nice, beautiful, I'm super happy because I always look forward to it. Honestly, it's like one of my favorite times of the week.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because it's just one of those times where we can hop in into a call with each other and just kind of sit here, shoot the shit about, this, that, and the third, and we may go on our little tangents, ADHD and TBI brain, however you want to say that, but it's always a fun time because I'm super excited about your take on something. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear, feedback and stuff like that because I feed off of other people's energies, and it's just one of those things.
Same. And it's just it's really also like, because what we do sometimes, like I don't think there's ever been a time when we've like sat down and talked about these and so on and so forth that it's like, okay, hey, we're shooting the episode today, we just get right into recording. Like it's literally a good hour 2 hours before we even started recording that we're sitting there shooting the shit. It's like, oh shit, yeah, we were going to do something, huh?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, about that, record, and we're live. Welcome to the Whispers in the Shadow podcast. Whispers from the Shadow podcast. Whispers from the shit.
Here's the introductions. Yeah, shit, we got to get going, huh?
Yeah, but it's just it's such a fun time. It really is. So
it's great. I enjoy everyone.
Just to let everyone know, we do. I don't want to throw this out there, but we do have a Patreon. So if you'd like to show some support to the channel, that option's always available because someone asked me about it. I'm not going to divulge any names, but that's one way you can do it. And just listening to us. Honestly, that is like the biggest thing.
Listening and tuning in, just giving feedback would be great too. Don't ever feel obligated to do anything more than what you already have. Just tuning in. Great. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, same. Honestly, because I would like, if I was like my thought process behind this was I want to have fun. I want to make someone be like, hey, I remember that movie, or hey, I never thought about that, or hey, I never heard about that.
Difference of opinions and ideas, and it's like what makes my favorite horror movie my favorite horror movie, what makes yours, and it ranges from like I loved how it was how the writing was, how the cinematography was, I just love the movie, or it had my favorite actor, actress, whatever. Like there's just so many different things that can connect you to a movie instead of just, oh, it's an Academy Award movie or some stupid title. Like there's a lot more, and I love how it's not everyone's horror movie is the same. Because what scares me doesn't scare you, and what scares you doesn't scare me. It could be so many different things. Yeah,
like it's like it's that whole what take is. It's not about whose take is better or whose opinion matters more than another's. It's always about.
It's just having the conversation of it.
Yeah, and like.
Oh yeah, exactly. And again, like you also can use it to kind of ground yourself, and it's like, oh, I love Doom 2012, whatever the year that movie came out, and someone's just like, you have the completely wrong opinion. Well, defend your movie. I want to hear what made you love this movie.
Well, the Rock at the end when he gets blown up by the hand grenade, and Keith Urban is a hero. It's like, oh, okay, fair.
Carl Urban.
Whoops. Keith Urban's the singer, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's recorded. Whoops.
Keith Urban, how dare you fight the Rock? Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh, that brought some tears to my eyes. Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome. Hold on, I gotta look up a Keith Urban song to work in a pun. Oh my god, I can't.
That was so fucking good.
How dare they have the same last name and confuse me?
Oh, that made me laugh. Oh,
yeah, your line of when you sat there and looked at the Rock and said "blue ain't your color" and just yeeted that grenade in his face. Good job, Keith Urban.
Yeah, thank you, Keith Urban. You really did protected our freedoms right there.
He said America. Oh my god,
America.
God dang it. I am so sorry. If Carl Urban ever hears that, he is going to have an entire fit. Please just don't come after me like the boys.
I honestly kind of wish he would, just so we got some feedback from that, because that would be fucking, if either of them ever like reacted to this, that'd be fucking hilarious.
Oh, big time. Just freaking out of nowhere, just Keith Urban somehow gets contact of either one of us and is like, hey, listen, that was me in Doom. Okay.
Don't ever confuse us again. There will be a lawsuit. Oh fuck.
Yep, they used my name wrong. Cease and desist. But why? Mr. Urban, I'm so sorry.
Whatever shall I do? Oh, I think that's a good note to leave off on, though.
Yeah,
oh my God, thank you for that.
my stupidity and my tiredness just like combined into one. It was like, hey, you know that famous actor Keith Urban and Carl Urban, the country music star? And like,
Oh my God. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really loved, Keith Urban in fucking The Boys. He did such a stellar job.
oh yeah, or when he went up against Dominic Toretto in Pitch Black.
hmm Oh yeah, fucking classic.
He really showed Vin Diesel.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm so stupid.
Oh,
Sometimes I swear.
That was just so fucking good. Because now I'm just gonna see that's like, yeah, this summer Keith Urban is Dread.
Returning for season 5 of The Boys, Keith Urban.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh, that's gonna
thank
be an
you for that
inside
one.
joke.
Oh yeah, or whoever listens to this is gonna be great. All right.
Yep.
Oh,
right.
love you guys, man. We'll be back in the next one.
Yeah, see you guys next week. From me, much love. Oh, I'm so dumb.
Oh, that's so good. So worth it. That's a great way. Later.
Bye.